Hey everyone, and welcome to the tutorial series for the procedural park. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the project overview. And you can see here, when we look at the coverage, we're going to be taking a look at mostly the blueprints folder, the tools, the park objects, and the showcase. And then very quickly look at the other folders that are included. So if I go ahead and jump over to Unreal, if you download the asset from the marketplace and you just open the park, after the shaders compile, this is what you should see. It automatically opens in the level showcase. You can dismiss this little blueprints notice here. And we're going to just take a quick look at everything that's included here. So I would suggest that if you're very new, you can actually even pause this video and just go ahead and click play here and walk through the showcase level. This level has been designed to kind of give you a quick idea of everything that's included in the park high level. You'll actually walk around a little path and you'll see messages pop up kind of explaining what you're seeing, and you can actually see the parks being built step by step. So that's really neat. But in this video, we'll just take a look at the content. So right here, you can click on this little icon just so we can see the source content here. And if I open my procedural park folder, you'll see that we have blueprints, epic content, maps, materials, meshes, particle systems, and textures. And the most important folder here is the blueprints folder. So right here you have a quick introduction tutorial. If you can click here, you'll see a little pop-up. You have the tools folder, and if you open here, you have the main blueprint, which is BP Park. This blueprint right here is actually the procedural park. When we look at the quick start guide, you'll see that the first thing we do is we actually go ahead and drag this to the world. This is going to be the main park that generates everything, right? You have a simple fence blueprint here that you can just use to build a fence. You have a utility blueprint that allows you to change properties for hierarchical instance static meshes. If you open the water folder here, you'll have the river blueprint, which again, we're going to take a look at the end of the tutorial series. And you have the water walkway blueprint here. And then if you open the pathway here, this is the pathway that you'll use to connect all of the different points of interest in your park. And you can see that we have a base class here. Then we have two specific children. We have the generic pathway and we have the prop pathway here. And then we have the no spawn zones. And basically what this does is it allows you to reserve a specific area in your park to prevent foliage from spawning. And you have different shapes here. You have a torus, you have a rectangle, a pyramid, a cylinder, and you can even use a spline to create any custom shapes that you want. So think about having a specific clearing in your park where you want to have something very specific. You can go ahead and use these blueprints to make sure that you have that space reserved where nothing else spawns in that area. If we back up again to the blueprints folder, you can take a look at the showcase folder here. And this is going to be just blueprints that are used really right here in the showcase level. So if I click play, for example, and I start walking, you'll notice that we have a little message that pops up. Welcome to the procedural park, etc. So that blueprint is this blueprint right here, show widget. The HUD that appears here is this little widget blueprint here. And then we have a little teleport at the end of the level that'll teleport you to a platform at the top. And this is used right here. I have also created a very simple camera system, which I use in the level park, which basically allows me to fly from point of interest to point of interest. This is what I use to capture some of the fly-throughs in the trailer. I'm going to show you how to use this in a later video, but again, it's super simple. I wanted something very quick and dirty, and I didn't want to have to pull out sequencer because it's a lot more complicated. And then finally, if we go back to blueprints here, we have park objects. And this is the base class for all of the objects. And then you have central actors here. And these are the actors that are spawned towards the center of the park. These are the main points of interest. So if I open one of these guys here, and I go to the viewport, you'll see that this is a little fountain. It has a few benches here. It has a little area of concrete, and it has some water particles, right? This is a particle system that's here simulating water. So this blueprint, for example, will be spawned as a central actor in your park. And you have several different variations here, as you can see here. So if I open another one here, go to the viewport, you can see that this is just another version. And these are obviously low poly things that I've done mostly as a showcase of what you can do. And you can see this looks a lot nicer. This is from one of the Epic's demo levels, right? But the idea here is that you can easily replace any of these actors with your own meshes or other marketplace message to actually make your park look a lot nicer, right? With high poly models. Then you have the area props here, and these are the props that are spawned in around your park. And if actually you fly over here, you're in the showcase level, you can see that I have all of the props lined up here for you to see. So we have a little Ferris wheel, fully functional Ferris wheel. We have some bathrooms for men and women. We have some play equipment here, like a little seesaw and swings and merry-go-round. We have a little kiosk with some picnic tables here. We have some flags, and if I click on simulate here, you'll see that the flags start waving in the air. So this is a cloth simulation, for example. So these are the different props that I've included as part of the park. But again, you can easily add your own. You can modify the settings here, or you can use any marketplace assets as you please. You can use blueprint actors, which means that you can pretty much spawn anything you want, or you can even spawn static meshes if you want to keep those very high performant. All right, and then we have these two folders here that you typically don't need to touch. These are the base classes for the hierarchical instant static mesh actors that are spawned, so you don't really have to touch these. And then we have a folder called core, which has all of the enums and all of the structs that I'm using in the park blueprint. So if you don't know what you're doing, or if you're not sure what these folders are for, please don't touch these. You can easily break the park blueprint if you start messing with these. If you want to update or add your own code, I would actually suggest that you don't touch these, that you simply add your own structs and enums. That way you keep the code very clean and separate. All right, so if we go back to our little guide here, we've gone over all of the blueprints, and then very quickly just take a look at the other folders. This is should be pretty obvious, right? But obviously the Epic content folder, if you open it here, it has all of the content that I've actually sourced from Epic Games. So a lot of these models and textures, for example, the trees here, the grass model, for example, this texture here for sand, a lot of these are from Epic Games. This tree here, for example, is from the kite demo that you see here moving. These flowers. So anything that has come from Epic Games, I'm separating here. If you go on the blueprints, you can see that there are some blueprints, like there's a butterfly blueprint that I'm using. There are some birds that are flying around. You can see the birds here, for example. So those are all from Epic Games. The third person character itself is obviously from Epic Games. And if you click on the water folder, you have the lake blueprint, BP translucent water, which is used to create this lake right here. Again, this is not mine. This is from Epic Games. Then obviously you have materials, meshes, etc. From there you have the maps, and if you open here you have a few maps. You have the map that you're seeing right here. The level showcase is the default map here, but you have a level for your assets, and if you open this, you'll see that this is just a very small level that showcases all of the different assets that are included in this pack. And I have like a little path here with all of the assets kind of crammed together, but this gives you an idea of pretty much what's included here. If you go to the level city showcase, this showcases a very simple park that you can see here. And actually I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I am showing the floor right here. And you can see that you have a floor texture here. And the reason for that is you can use the park with and without a landscape. Now, if you use it with a landscape, then you'll see that there are definitely a lot of benefits. But if you have a game that you're not using a landscape, like in this case, you see that I'm just basically using a cube for a city, right? This is supposed to be concrete. Then you can still use the park, and you can see that I've supposedly made a little city scene with buildings here, and in between all this, you have a little park, and you see that you have all of the elements here, including wind, including the gazebo. You have the lights here, and then you have 4 entrances as well. And then if you go to level park actually is the level that I've used for the trailer. This is just another sample level of a park, similar to the city, but in this case, this is a pretty big park where I'm using the landscape. I'm giving you a sample of how to set up the lake here. I'm showing you how to do the materials for the landscape. I'm showing you how to even do pathways here, like dirt pathways, etc. So this is just another sample level where you can just kind of walk around and see what the park can look like if you use it on a landscape. So level city showcase, if you don't use a landscape, here's a sample. If you want to use a landscape, level park will show you that. And then finally, we have a level called level tutorial. And if you open it, you'll see that it's pretty much an empty level. There's really nothing here. And this is the level that we will be using going forward in the tutorial series, where we're going to actually start adding our blueprints and messing around with all of the different settings. So in other products, I've actually taken the time to build this step by step, and I figure I'll just include it here. So if you open it here, you already have your landscape set up with a material. You have your light source, you have a post-process volume, everything you need to just start dragging the actual blueprints that you need to get started. And that is pretty much it, guys. In the next video, we're going to do a quick start guide where we're going to go through the process of creating a park from start to finish. Watch this video definitely just to get a quick idea of how to build your park. And then after that, we'll go into the deep dives. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video.